Today, we've got a special podcast episode as we've got 3 different guests, each with a completely different specialties. We've got George, who's going to give us the latest on what's working for PPC. Sean's going to tell us about a marketplace that 99.9% of you have never even heard of. And Athena, who's going to share her amazing tips on networking and building business relationships. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the Amazon or Walmart world. We've got somebody helping serious sellers from across the pond, as it were. George from the UK, how's it going?
Yeah, it's all good, my friend. It's all good. It was great to spend some time with you at the $1 Billion Seller Summit last week. So, glad to be back home now. Indeed.
Now, really quick, just for those who are watching this on YouTube, remember, guys, about 1 week after this comes out on the podcast version, we now have a YouTube version on our Helium 10 channel. You'll notice in the background here, I just got tons of mess, and it's not just that, Bradley is a very messy person, which maybe I am. But what I was doing all of this weekend was I was gathering together a bunch of my sports cards that I invest in, and I'm doing a mini Project 5K. So Project 5K is something we did for Amazon a while back, but I'm doing a mini Project 5K that I want to sell $5,000 worth of my sports card and memorabilia before the Sell and Scale Summit, because I need some money. I've been just telling George right now that I had to shut my door here because I'm constructing a bathroom here. I'm putting a lot of money into my house, and so I need to get some money. So if you guys notice this, sports cards is kind of like a cool way to make money. It's really fun, and I usually sell on eBay and things like that. So anyways, that's the explanation of the mess behind me, but it's also to put myself on blast that I have to do $5,000. You ever get into baseball cards yourself, or
no? I got into Pokemon cards when I was younger. That's the only collective items that I kind of put myself into. Yeah.
Take a look at this. This is something that'll be going up on eBay. Original from 20 years ago. Neo Pokemon sealed box from Japan.
No way.
Worth about $1,500. If I can sell this by itself, I'll be 1/5 of the way here. But yep. Anyways, we're not here to talk about sports cards, but guys, we've done episodes on that because that's actually a great fun way to invest and to make money online. Is by doing sports cards and Pokemon cards and things like that. We brought you on here to talk about what's working on Amazon, Walmart, whatever the case is for advertising. You had a few minutes, your team on the stage at $1 Billion Summit, and so got to get a little bit of what's on your mind. But what since the last time you've been on the show, what is the number one thing you want to talk about here that's really working for either Amazon or Walmart sellers?
Okay, I think the one thing that we've started testing and we've seen some really good results is focusing primarily on exact match campaigns. So taking a certain product that's in category position 1 to 15 and focusing primarily on increasing the conversion rates through exact match targeting to help them rank and try and get the bestseller badge. So that's been a really interesting test. And we used it side by side with Helium 10's keyword tracker. So monitoring kind of what keywords we're ranking well for, and we're seeing results, and also using that data. So that's something we've been testing. We've seen some good results on some accounts, but what we're kind of the conclusion I'm coming to now is you do need to have some seriously deep pockets to do this, especially for some of the more competitive terms. So that's something we've been doing, and we've seen some good results. Something else that we're pushing into in the future, Bradley, is we're just about to get access to Walmart's DSP. So we're just going for a final credit check now with the trade desk to kind of get access to that. So that's going to be really interesting for Walmart sellers as well. So we still haven't tested it, but the features that it has in place should see some good results. So next time I come on here, I should be able to talk to you about that.
Excellent. Now, just in general, a sentiment I hear out there amongst, the Amazon community, especially, is that they say, oh, you know what, ACoS is going higher. It's costing a lot more to play. So are you seeing, obviously you being an agency, you have to deal with that. So are you seeing that too, where ACoS is going up or cost per click, I should say, instead of ACoS necessarily, where cost per click is going up on words that traditionally have been, $1 bid, and now to get at the top of the page, it's taking $1.50 or something like that?
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable now that the cost per click bids is higher on Amazon than it is on Google, because when we first started doing it, it was so much more cheaper on Amazon. But yeah, we're definitely seeing that. And we've also seen a shift from the way people think. So a few years back, the focus primarily was on ACOS. So everyone was kind of more ACOS focused. Then it shifted towards TACOS, because focusing primarily on ACOS meant that you could have potentially be having a bad impact on your ranking by focusing on ACOS and cutting out keywords that might have great conversion rates, but because the cost per click's gone up and the ACOS has gone up, you cut them off, and it's then had an impact on your ranking. Now we're trying to shift more towards two things. One thing is conversion rates. What is the actual conversion rates of certain keywords, and being very, very surgical about that when we're looking for accounts, kind of establishing what they are, and then cross-referencing that against, okay, how are they doing compared to ranking, and how are they doing compared to kind of making money. And then that's the first thing we do. The second thing is tracking profits. So we get as many people as possible to feed us now information on how profitable they are. So there might be certain products that are incredibly profitable, and we sometimes take the profits from those products and invest it into other keywords that are not as profitable, but we're trying to push to help them get ranked better, so then they are profitable in the long run.
Okay, so then, apart from that, what are some other things that people can do in order to still go? Like, it's not a case where it's like, hey, I'm just going to keep, or my cost per click is going to keep going high, and now I have no profit, and this is what I got to do. There's steps that people need to take in order to, because at the end of the day, you've got to make profit on Amazon. And so, like, are you suggesting to some of your clients to raise their prices to offset this, or it's just more of a matter of just really focusing in on the keywords that work and cutting out the keywords that don't? What do you guys suggest?
Yeah, so as long as we got all the data, so I think the first thing is we had a few clients now who didn't have Helium 10, who weren't tracking keywords, they weren't looking at that data, they weren't looking at profit. So now anyone who signs up with us, they have to have all of that in place. Otherwise, we're just not going to work with them. We're now going through all accounts. So the first thing is we want to know what is going on, right? What are the actual numbers? Not what you think it is. What are the actual day-to-day numbers? Once we understand that, and where the rankings are, once we understand those two things, we can then become far more focused on what terms we get rid of and what terms we keep. So we've had to be far more ruthless recently with that strategy. And again, if we see the improvements in conversion rates, we definitely started to see some improvements in ranking and in the category ranking as well. And that seemed to help a lot. So that's one thing. We've also been suggesting trying out new things. For me, I'm still astonished, Bradley, at how many people haven't utilized sponsored brand video ads across all of their product lines, right? So that's something else we use. We push them. And if they haven't got the resources to create a really nice video, we just get, I have someone now, I just say, look, I'll pay for it, we'll do it. We've got someone who uses Canva, and we just create some really good slideshows with some good content, put it on there for every single product. Just get them up, because they tend to have the best conversion rates, the best ACOS from all of the accounts. So we look into that, and we test. We want to test ASIN targeting. We want to look at the remarketing through display ads. We want to see, okay, you've paid so much money to get the traffic to your website, to your product. What can we now do to re-engage that audience to get them to follow through and buy? So that's kind of what we do.
Now, speaking of, sponsored brand video, I know, or I think now, like on sponsored display and regular sponsored brand ads, now there's like more abilities for sellers to like put their own kind of like, copy on there. Like before it was like sponsored brand, like way back in the day, it's just like, here's the 3 ASINs, then Amazon, puts the layout. But now you can actually like change, you can have a sales message, you can change the image. And I think you can do that on sponsored display as well. So am I wrong in that? If not, what are you guys doing to leverage this new flexibility that Amazon has given sellers?
Yeah. So firstly, again, going back to kind of the fact that it's becoming less profitable, Amazon, with the cost per clicks increasing, we want to first establish which keywords have converted really well through sponsored product ads. Once we figure that out, we then go into sponsored brand ads. The first place we go is sponsored brand video ads. And then we start looking at the different types of ads you can create, the variations, and kind of the different messaging and so on and so forth. But one thing to bear in mind with that as well is because there's less real estate on the search results page, it's going to be really hard to achieve a really good conversion rate and also good impression share on those slots. So that's something we bear in mind. So some people we have 1 or 2 clients who have been very much profit focused and they want to push hard. And we've had to be quite ruthless, and we've had to actually stop most of their sponsor brand ads, because that's where most of the money was being wasted. So we've had to focus primarily on sponsored product ads just to ensure that the profit is solid.
Okay. Now, before we get into your 30-second tip of the day, to close this out, I wanted to mention that, Clear Ads is going to be in person at Sell and Scale Summit. I just looked it up. You guys are booth number 233. Will you personally be there?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm going to be there.
So guys, you want to ask George some questions directly, make sure to come to Sell and Scale and visit his booth. And there's actually, you just ask for George and you have a 50% chance of getting somebody at their booth, because, half the people at their company seem to be George. but just ask for George, and somebody named George will help you at the booth to ask anything PPC. But if people, can't wait until there to ask you a question, how can they find you on the interwebs out there?
They could contact me on george@clearads.co.uk, or you can go on the website clearads.co.uk. And Bradley, just really quickly, the funny thing is, when I was speaking to one of your colleagues, Ryan, at the start of the year, I said to Ryan, look, we're looking for events to sponsor. Is Helium 10 doing anything? Is there anything you guys are doing? And he goes, oh, funny enough, you should ask. You should speak to Jasmine. I was like, right, put me in touch with Jasmine. And she's like, well, funny enough, George, we're just about to release the layout. We have an event, Sell and Scale coming up. And I was like, right, let's get on a call. We got on a call and she tried to sell me Sell and Scale. And I said, Jasmine, it's Helium 10. Just show me the floor plan and how much it is.
I love it.
And then she was just like, right, okay, the best place is probably going to be near Helium 10. I was like, right, put us right next to Helium 10. That's it. Just here's my finance lady. She'll sort out the money. We're done. And then I just
saw that now. We are booth 227. So I guess you guys are next to us there. Excellent.
So we got in quick, mate. So
I love it. Now I also like how you're the original George. So you've got the George at everybody else. I'm assuming has George dot something or something like that.
Yeah, they got the dots. Yeah, I'm the original.
Okay, very good. Anyways, what's your 30-second PPC tip of the week for us?
Okay, test anything new Amazon brings out. It looks like every few weeks there's something different coming out. When you get into something new that Amazon's doing and you test it, there's a strong chance you're gonna benefit from the first mover advantage. We always suggest any new features, just test it out, because those new features are going to help you differentiate your product to everyone else. So if there's a new type of headline ad that comes out, Amazon's just rolled out a video builder for Amazon sellers as well, through Seller Central. That's just been phased in. You got the category, you got brand metrics as well. That's just come out. Utilize that information, use it to your advantage, because if you're fast to react to this stuff, then it's going to put you on an edge.
Awesome. Well, George, thank you so much for joining us. I'll be seeing you on the Zumba Fitness dance floor of the class I'll be leading in a couple of weeks here, and we'll now go on to the next interview. All right, our next guest is now Athena. Athena, how's it going? Where are you? Are you in Florida?
Yeah. Hey, Bradley. So good to see you. I am in Clear.
How's Florida? How's that coast?
Okay, I love it. I feel like I live in a postcard. So I'm from LA, right? And I moved to Clearwater about 3 years ago. And what I love about it is the ocean is warm. So you can swim in it, and the sand is powdery white, and there's a cute beach town every 15 to 20 minute drive. It's a totally different vibe. So I love it. I feel like
how do you put up with the humidity though?
I kind of love it. It's good for my hair. It's good for my skin. So I don't know. I kind of
okay. Maybe that's why my skin is so bad. The air is so dry here, and that's why I have so much dry skin. No. Maybe you just told me the secret of my facial success here.
There you go. Come on over, Bradley.
All right. I wanted to just hop right into it, because I would venture to say that you might be the one who have kind of brought more people and introduced them to sourcing in China and things like that than anybody else in the world, because of your trips you used to take. Now, obviously, the first thing is there hasn't been any trips, in a couple of years because China has been kind of shut down. I'm just curious, have you heard any scuttlebutt, or is there any like estimations on when people can start going to China again to like take sourcing trips and things from outside of the country?
Well, I heard that Global Sources is opening in Hong Kong, which is cool, but Hong Kong's not China, obviously. And so I've heard little whispers, but until I see it like solidly open, it's not really my ideal thing to bring 100 Amazon sellers over until I see that it's like a very stable environment.
And then they get locked down for like 1 month and you cannot leave your hotel.
It's not going to happen. So, China Magic was one of the most magical things that, started off my career in this Amazon space. And it really taught me a lot about the power of connection, the power of networking, and the power of having close proximity to people who are 10 steps ahead of you in the game. You know what I mean? You're learning from them. It's almost like if you've been in this business for, 5-10 years yourself, imagine speaking to yourself 5-10 years ago and saying, look, Bradley, this is the way you should do this. Avoid that. Like if you go this route, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So just the amount of time and stress and money and energy that you save by like being around incredible people that have already kind of been there and gone through that path is something that was really remarkable to me. And I think that I noticed that drastically when we had, all those days together.
Will you be bringing it back? Like let's say the country does open up, everything good. Will we see a return of China Magic?
We're going to bring China back. What? Yeah,
we're bringing China Magic back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of events and a lot of trips, and that's why I'm really excited about Sell and Scale, because I know the power of these events. And so obviously we haven't stopped because China's closed, but that was really a very special trip just because we got to, see the products, touch the products, talk to the suppliers. It was definitely cool.
Now, I've talked to, I've had Keen on before on different programs and talked about like, okay, well, what can we do since we're not going to China, physically, what are some strategies? So he's covered that. But just to give people an idea of like what you used to do and what you're going to do, what does a China Magic trip involve? Like, some people might think, oh, I'm just going to go, 12 hours a day and visit factories that are 20 miles apart from each other and stuff. But that's not at all what you do there.
Yeah, so that's really where Titan came from, was the fact that we would go during the day to the Canton Fair. And so we would see, suppliers, and we would, look at products and things. And then in the evenings, we would do like a full A to Z on Amazon. And we would talk about, PPC strategy and launching and conversion and pretty much every topic. But the thing that I'm so fond of was just that proximity that people had to the actual speakers, right? Which is not usually a normal thing. So they would be able to kind of like hands-on mentor and workshop with people. And the feedback that I would get is that it would really fast forward their business tremendously, just because they were able to actually work with, someone like yourself who's had a lot of experience. Imagine like someone sitting next to you and being like, yo, what do I do about this? It's so different than, anything else out there. So that's, I think, where that magic really started.
Yep. And, you mentioned about networking and things like that. And like I said, you're probably the one, the most advanced person in the world as far as knowing how to bring people to China and stuff. But on the flip side, you're also probably the most advanced person in the world that I know of, in the Amazon space at least, as far as, I don't know what the word is, like creating connections between sellers. Like I remember the seller cons, which I loved. When they would do their big events, like you would be the one in charge of like doing these like unique networking sessions for lunch. So it's not just eating lunch, but you're playing games and stuff like that. And then you'll just have I remember in the past you had a last second idea to like, let's do a conference in Florida. And like 2 weeks later, it's like, 200 people there and stuff. Like, give us some secrets to your success as far as that goes. Like, why are you so good at your networking and bringing people together like that?
It's kind of who I am, but like I mentioned, the power of connection for me is just tremendous. And so even at my first Amazon event, like I hosted a dinner for 100 people. It was my first time walking into an Amazon event. I just connected with people. And one of the things that I did is I had guys who were successful stand up and give some tips, right? And again, the feedback I got from that was these guys are in the trenches. They're operators, right? So they're seeing what's working and what's not working. Whereas sometimes in, other events and things, you would see people who are a bit disconnected. Maybe they operated a few years ago. They're not quite, in the know of like what's trending now. And so I would have them stand up, give some tidbits, and people would really, benefit from that just because these guys were so in the trenches. And so I don't know. I've always I have a background in Hollywood. I've always done fashion shows and events and musical things and actors. And I worked with a lot of people in Hollywood. I worked with a lot of people, in just different industries. And when I got into Amazon, my goodness, do I love our people, the entrepreneurial spirit. They're fun, they're wild. And when you bring them together and you really get the brain power of someone let's say you've got Kian, right? He's a sourcing wizard, right? And then you've got someone who's a PPC genius, and you've got somebody else, and they're all sort of brilliant in their own zones. And then you mush them together, the innovative things that happen because they're all in the same room is remarkable. And so that's really where I think my love for, connection and events and masterminds and all of the things. I mean, I literally have traveled the entire world attending everything I could just because I never knew who I was going to meet. I met you at an event, which was super cool. And I met my business partner, Dan Ashburn, at an event, and, that changed our lives. And it's just,
I was just with him at an event in Dubai of all places a few months ago. So I meet we meet people randomly all over the world.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about Sell and Scale in a minute or two here, but let's say for some reason I can't go to Sell and Scale Summit. Maybe I live in the middle of Australia. It's hard to get out of the country, or maybe, I'm just, don't have the time or money to go to Vegas at this time. Especially during the pandemic, I think people were like, holy crap, how do I network when there's no more events? Or if I can't go to events, that's kind of a universal thing. So what are some tips you can give people about hey, power of networking is important, but just because you can't go to events, that doesn't mean that there's no opportunity for networking. I mean, 5 years ago, I think Facebook groups absolutely were the number one. Is that still the number one thing to do, or is it Discords, or is it, how do you network when you don't go to events, in other words?
Well, I mean, there are meetups, which I would recommend because meetups are usually more local and more affordable. So if you can find, let's say, a local Amazon meetup, that's a really good way to connect with people in person, right? You can also meet people, whether it's, Facebook groups, you can join a mastermind. I mean, that's really what these things are set up to do, is to connect you with like-minded people. And there's several in the space that are lovely. So you can connect with, an online mastermind. Don't be creepy. If you see someone in a Facebook group and you really see that you guys connect, reach out to them, but don't be that weirdo that's privately messaging everyone and just being kind of crazy, there's one lady, her name's Annetta, who has, 2 boys my kids' ages. And I just always saw her in this Facebook group. So I reached out to her, and she actually came to my holiday party. And now she's one of my closest friends. So you can totally find people like that, but you just have to do it in a very genuine way and not sit there DMing everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a turnoff if somebody's DM stalking you. It's not a great, great motivation to network with this person. Now, Sell and Scale Summit. A lot of people are going here now. We already have pre-network events scheduled. There's a beach party here, and there's a meet and greet here, and just in general, you're going to be around 1,000 people or so. What are some tips that you can give of how somebody just, average Joe, average Sally seller on there, I don't have maybe control over the program and things, but how do I make sure to come out of my shell and get the most out of these networking events? Do you suggest just randomly going up to people and meet them and introduce yourselves, or what's the best strategy?
Sure. I'll give you my line. You ready for my
I'm ready.
My networking Amazon pickup line? Okay. So I like this one, which is, tell me about yourself.
Okay.
Very, very chill, very cool. But if I go up to you and I'm like, hey, my name's Athena, and you're like, oh, cool, my name's Bradley. I'm like, great. Tell me about yourself, right? You'll probably say, well, I've been on Amazon for X amount of years. I've got this kids. I do Zumba. I'm really fun. Like kind of tell whatever's realistic to you about you is the first thing that's going to come to your mind when someone asks you, like, tell me about yourself. You can also say like, how long have you been selling on Amazon? Tell me about your journey. What is your biggest pain point? What is your biggest strength? Like, just be a normal freaking person and connect, because here's the thing. You have no idea how powerful that connection could be for you. That person might have some experience, maybe they know of like this amazing factory that happens to make this product that you've been looking for. Maybe they're like a genius at, PPC, and they could totally help you out with this one thing. Maybe you're a creative and they're like a techie, and you guys can combine forces. Maybe they could be your future business partner. In fact, I just found out about this guy who was sitting next to his now wife. They've been married for 6 years and they have 2 kids, and she was from Norway and he was from the US, and they sat next to each other at an Amazon event, and they're both introverts, but they were doing some networking exercises and they fell in love, right? So like, yes.
Yeah. So like, hey, initially guys, your main motivation should be, network, so you can build your network and learn about Amazon more and learn stuff. But you never know, you might find your future life partner there.
Like my business partner and I, like we've done so many events together. We created like all kinds of magic, and he was just at an event in San Diego hanging out with some of my friends. We happened to connect. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know who you're going to meet.
You need to create, Athena, a dating app for the Amazon sellers.
Hey, do you know how many people have told me that? They're like, do Titan singles?
Swipe left.
And I told Dan about it, and he's like, oh, hell no. That stuff gets messy. And I'm like, no, it'd be so fun. He's like, yeah, I know. And anyway, so
look how much money the Bumble CEO has made. You never know.
But here's the thing, Bradley. Here's the thing I want people to understand. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you're in a group of people, and these people are entrepreneurs. They're willing to take enough risk to do something crazy, like build a brand on Amazon, right? And so you might have felt like out of place or lonely in other worlds, but in this world, just be you and be open and find your people. Maybe the first few that you talk to are not going to be your vibe, but if you just continue to put yourself out there, you will meet. I mean, I know you have some of your closest friends that you've met at these events and such. These are like your real people, for me too. And so I think the most important thing is like, get over yourself, get over your fear, put yourself out there, talk to people like normal humans, offer value. Don't go around looking around like, hey, I wonder if that guy could hook me up. I wonder if that guy could help me out. Nobody likes that. Everyone's going to just, do not do that. It just makes you an awkward, uncomfortable person. Do not bring like business cards and start handing them out like we're in the 90s or something. That's not cute. Make real connections, real relationships. And here's a real trick. Are you ready for this? You have to find a way to connect in the future, right? Because if you have like this great conversation, you meet this great person, and you have no idea how to find them in the future, like that's not going to work for, your networking. So one of the things that I do, and you can use, there's apps for this, but what I do is I take out a simple note, right? And I'll write down people's names. I'll even pull, like if they're a WhatsApp person, I'll get them on WhatsApp, and then I'll put like WhatsApp under their name. I'll take a selfie with them sometimes. I'll like whatever kind of notes are going to make me remember who that person is. I actually put it in a note on my phone so that when I get home, I literally have all the people that I connected with, and I make it a thing to actually reach back out to them and say, hey, it was super cool to meet you. I usually even note down like how I can help them, right? So like if they have something that they need help with, I'll literally write it down on my note. I'll reach back out to them, in a week or two or whatever, and be like, hey, you mentioned you were looking for that one, whatever, sourcing agent or whatever it is, right? Here's the contact for that. Hope you're well, right? And then that person's like, oh, cool. It's being this is so simple, but like when you're in the moment and you're all excited and there's lights and there's music and there's Gary freaking V up on stage, you might forget to get that person's name and phone number, right?
Yeah,
Don't do that, because that person could end up being a really, really important person in your life.
Super great point. I just want to mention, guys, if you want to get more insights from Athena, Titan Network has a booth at Sell and Scale. They're at booth number 133. So make sure to visit the booth, and you'll be there. Will Dan be there?
Dan won't be there. I'm going to be there, and a whole bunch of our crew. And really the power of Titan is in the people. and in the connection and in that collective brain power. So what we've done is brought together like some really amazing human beings, and we've created a network that, really helps people. So I'd love to connect with any of you. If you come by our booth, we're super open, friendly. We'll introduce you to people. So if you're feeling awkward or uncomfortable, come find me. Like, I'm super, like, I'll introduce you to people. Like, I just want you guys to feel so comfortable, so excited, because this is a big deal. Like, I literally have goosebumps thinking about it. Like, we're gonna meet people probably that we don't even know exist, because COVID really shut down a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people in our industry we've never even met yet. So like, who knows who's going to be there? And I just can't wait to connect with all of them.
Now, if they can't wait to see you until then, how can they find you on the interwebs and reach out to you?
Yeah, so go to titannetwork.com and you can connect with me there. Before anyone joins our network, I actually personally speak to every single one of them. I don't know if you knew that, but we have over like 1,200 members. I have spoken to almost every single person before they become a part of our world. So I'd love to connect with them personally, see if I can help them in any way. So you can go to Titan Network, or you can find me on Insta, Athena Severi, Facebook. I'm very social. I love humans. I'm like an extrovert to a fault.
Awesome. Now, guys, in case for some strange reason you haven't got your ticket yet, go to h10.me/S3, h10.me/S3. You can use my code S3BS100, save $100 off of it, S3BS100. Athena, thank you so much for coming on here, and I can't wait to be on the dance floor and on the conference floor with you in a couple weeks.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me, Bradley. Talk to you soon.
All right. So our next interview here is no stranger to the Series Sellers podcast. We've got Sean from Creasive here. Sean Tepeo, 오랜만이다. 잘 지냈어요?
Hey, Bradley. Yeah, I'm
How's
good.
my Korean? Getting better, huh? For all the Korean drama you and your wife have been showing me to watch.
I think you watch more than I do.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyways, we're not here to talk about Korean dramas, although I would love to do a full episode about it. I wanted to bring you on just to see, what's going on in the world of 3PLs and different marketplaces. So my first question for you is probably more than anybody I know. You and the brands that you manage are on more platforms than anybody. All of the different Amazon ones around the world. Europe and USA, but then you're also big on, 7-figure seller on Wayfair and eBay and Walmart USA, probably Walmart Canada. I'm just wondering, out of all these marketplaces, where are you seeing the most growth, and where are you seeing, if any, either the slowest growth or maybe even a decline?
Definitely Amazon Europe is very strong marketplace, and I quite amazed that, all the people, European people, buying stuff from online, and I think 70-80% of the channel was Amazon. So it's been pretty strong and growing market, Europe, but which is same time the American US sellers not really launching their product on Europe market. So I see that's a chance, because the one reason that is the difficult to launching product on your market was it needs complicated import compliance part, and also there is a part that you need to have importer to actually import goods. That's the big changes comparing to 2-3 years ago, that there was a lot of international sellers selling on Europe Amazon, but now it's been, even though market is huge, but the number of sellers, when I look at it, because of those regulations, it's been going down.
So are you saying that most of the ones who are launching over there are just like Europeans themselves, or not like American sellers expanding? Interesting. But would you say that the market growth, the revenue increase, is more in Europe than it is in the US, or less? I mean, obviously overall, US is of course, by far number one, not even close. But I'm just wondering about the increase in revenue.
Like the sales volume wise, Europe Amazon, according to what Amazon shared the data,
Mhm.
comparing to US Amazon, already EU Amazon is like 70% of US Amazon volume. So which
Oh, wow.
is
All
really,
all of the European together.
yes, yes. And they've
Interesting.
been launching, they launched UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. Now they added Netherlands, Sweden, and Poland, all
Mhm,
the
mhm.
other country, yeah, too. And all 27 European country also can purchase goods from Amazon, um, the channel that they are nearby. So the market size is already huge, but the chance that I'm talking about is the other competitors, Amazon sellers got removed. It's
Oh yeah,
because of
yeah.
they have import issue. So whoever fix that issue or penetrate that barrier have chance to sell on Amazon Europe with less competition. So that's the one of the reason I set up the Germany branch because of UK Brexit like 2 years ago from EU. So
Yeah,
and it's
before you
been
could just
working.
manage everything from the UK because it was all tied together. But now, like UK is kind of literally is
Yeah,
its own
yeah,
island and
it's the UK
physically too.
only.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Okay.
we through the German branch we've been managing warehouse and marketing over there.
Are you have
But
you guys expanded at all to like the UAE or Singapore or Australia or any of these other Amazons, Egypt, etc.?
uh, so we set up actually Korea branch this year. So not through Amazon, but like in Korea, there's a like Amazon similar type of open market over there. So we've been we start launching US and Europe clients to Korea
What's it
market
called?
only. Coupons and G Market,
Oh, gee, yeah,
uh,
yeah, I remember that one.
yeah,
Okay.
11th Street, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I remember that
very
one too.
like
Okay.
similar to Amazon, yeah.
So then
But
do they
mhm.
have like a FBA kind of thing, or everything is fulfilled by merchant, everything you have to ship, that they don't have
um,
warehouses?
Coupon is like exactly same
How do you
as
spell that, by the way?
Amazon.
That one I never heard of.
CUPANG.
Okay.
Yeah, actually they listed on Nasdaq last year in U.S. market, and headquarters is in U.S. too. So it's kind of like U.S. company doing business in Korea with Amazon business model.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. I just went to that coupon, coupang.com, and I see Gatorade, I see Oreos, I see a lot of them, Duracell, some American brands here. So this is a similar concept to Amazon. The difference of those Korean websites, is it kind of like, like for example, in America, Wayfair, it's, more furniture based, Amazon is everything, Walmart is everything. Are those websites you mentioned kind of like everything, or is one of them like a certain kind of goods? I should consider this. And if I have a different kind of goods, I should consider this other website.
Like Korea open market is very similar to Amazon. So every category is possible,
Okay.
and especially like for US product, like the health supplement is huge. Yeah, health supplements and
Like made in USA
yes, yes,
ones
yes,
selling in Korea. Interesting.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny. America is all crazy about anything Korean, like K beauty and K drama and K pop, and and then I guess it's the opposite. Like in Korea, like a lot of American products are popular, huh?
Mhm. And one other thing that I see it as a huge potential this day is about the food category. Yeah. Uh, After this pandemic thing, globally, like food category has been
Interesting.
growing, yeah, on Amazon, and people are now getting used to purchase product without going market.
Yeah.
So even Amazon, they have only fresh, but even US, we have, there's a like frozen food delivery system like Instacart and other similar solutions coming out and delivered frozen food to your door. Um,
Yeah, you've
so
always been big in the food, like for like at
yeah,
least 3-4 years. I know, like I remember you used to carry those seaweed products and then a lot of like Korean, garnishes. So all the food products you've seen, I would imagine just skyrocketed during the pandemic. But then after pandemic, e-commerce slowed down a little bit. You haven't seen too much slowdown in the grocery and food categories.
I mean, yeah, the food category actually is keep going up. So I don't think like the habits that we create, it doesn't really kill that demands, even though like it's going to like end pandemic now.
Yeah. All right, we've talked about European market, Korean market, stuff we've never talked about before. What about here domestically in the United States? Outside of Amazon, are the
Mhm.
other marketplaces still strong for you? Like I said, I know you do Walmart, I know you do eBay, I know you do Wayfair. Have these states pretty steady, or are there any new ones that you have gotten into?
Uh, like Wayfair, I mean Walmart, definitely. I think they are the one investing their infra and system more and more, and their market share is been keep going up. And since Walmart is everywhere, easy returns and like collaborating with online and offline type of thing, it actually provides certain even bigger benefit than Amazon too.
Yeah.
So I think the starting Walmart definitely it's a good chance.
Okay.
Other
Excellent.
than that, also Shopify brand store because
Mm,
US sellers knows that crazy Amazon fees and FBA fees, so that to create the profit, like building up their own brand store. I think everybody these days we doing it. Yeah. So yeah.
okay. Excellent.
Mhm.
Now, before we get into your 30-second tip or your 30-second strategy of the week, again, just like with George that we just interviewed, you guys will also be an exhibitor at the Sell and Scale Summit. So, guys, if you want to see Sean in person, ask him some more questions about, about the Korean market, which I don't know anybody who's taken advantage of that. So that's like really cool if you could get into that. Go visit the Creative booth. They're at booth 319 at Sell and Scale. You can also ask him for some Korean drama recommendations. He'll be happy to give that. And then Sean, make sure to check him out on the dance floor. He'll be in my Zumba class, my Zumba dance
Okay.
class that I'll be
Yeah,
doing
sure.
over there. But Sean, if they can't wait until Sell and Scale to ask you some questions, how can they reach you out there?
Yeah, you can reach me anytime through the email marketing@creative.com, and also me and our team will be in the Helium 10 Seller Summit in Las Vegas. So, uh, yeah, whoever launching your product from US to Europe or Korea, or certain service needed in US like 3PL, uh, we we are welcome to explain all the detail.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us, and I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks.